Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of That's So Matthew. Today, I am so excited to continue the relaunch of That's So Matthew with a very exciting movie, with a very exciting guest as well. So, would you like to introduce yourself and what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, I'm Hannah from the Even Little Things podcast, and today we're going to be talking about Aquamarine.
Yes, I am so excited. As everyone knows, I am a huge nostalgic film person, hence why my podcast is all about nostalgic films. And when you had mentioned talking about this one, Hannah, I just had a flashback of me watching this movie with my cousins because they were obsessed with it. And you know what? I became obsessed with it. And I have not seen it in quite some time when I watched it to prepare for today's episode. But you know what? I thought it was kind of very good, but it was also why was I obsessed with this?
No, same. I mean, to me, this movie was really iconic, and I used to, my mom and I used to go to the library all the time, and the library that I go to, I don't know, for some reason, this is a weird, random side tangent, but ever since I moved to Washington, a lot of people have been saying they don't rent movies from the library, and I was like, no. When I lived in New Jersey, we would rent them all the time. But anyways, so my mom and I would go to the library and I would rent this movie so many times. It got to the point where my mom was starting to recognize it, and she was like, why are you renting Aquamarine so many different times? And I was like, you don't understand. Bestie, you don't understand. This is an iconic movie. And so I was really obsessed with this movie. And you're right, looking back, I'm I don't know why I was obsessed with this movie, but it's iconic and I think we should talk about it.
Yeah, that's exactly my thoughts. It also has a pretty iconic cast, so I think that we should get right into it. But today, I have a very fun fact that I have been waiting to share with everyone because I have been forgetting to do my fun facts. So today, on the day that we're recording, is my last day of shows at Six Flags. I have been working there for the past 2 months and it's been amazing. And then after this, I have 5 more drive-through days to get through, but I am very excited to be back and take a little bit of a break and relax. So that was my fun fact. I have been in their holiday shows. It's been super fun, super exciting, super rewarding. And I'm even wearing our show sweatshirt.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm so proud of you because when I first heard that you got the job, I was like, yay! Because I know you've been wanting to do it for a long time.
Yeah.
So
it was definitely an unexpected adventure that I did not think I was going to be taking, but here we are and the podcast is back. So honestly, let's get into it. It was released in 2006, which is kind of crazy because that's 15 years ago. More than that.
It's
when this
as
movie
old
comes
as
out,
us, which is a little embarrassing.
Yeah, so it came out on March 3rd, 2006. Is a 20th Century Fox film, and I would consider it kind of a fantasy romance.
Mm-hmm.
It was cute.
It's mermaids, if you were okay, honestly, if you were into H2O or Mako Mermaids, you probably watched this movie and you probably loved it.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. For the longest time, I thought that H2O and Aquamarine were the same thing.
I watched Aquamarine first, and then I found H2O, and I was like, this is gold. God sent H2O on this planet to be with me because of Aquamarine.
Just you, Hannah.
Just me.
No, it also has some pretty big names in the movie, like Emma Roberts, JoJo, Sarah Paxton. As well as Tammin Sursok, who was in Pretty Little Liars, which is one of my all-time favorite shows ever. I'm obsessed. I have watched so many episodes this past week on break. We're not even going to talk about it. And Jenna is my favorite character, arguably. And so when I saw that I realized she was in this movie, I was like,
oh,
yeah. It's just weird, going back and rewatching movies and you're like, wait, this is a person I actually have seen in other stuff.
Yeah. Do you ever go through, do you ever watch a movie and have to pause because you're going through the cast list and
yes.
Trying to figure out what they're in?
I did that for this movie.
I know. I'm like, ooh, she was in this and this and this.
Well, the best part is I watched it on Amazon and you can hover on the screen and it'll show you all of the people that are in this scene at the time. And I'm like, Tammin Sursok? And I was like, what?
She's in here. I know. It's
And she like
great.
looks so different too. Like that's the thing. Like you'll be like, wait, this girl looks familiar, but does she?
I know. Oh my gosh, the other day, my friend was telling me about this like, guy she was talking to, and I have a picture of him and I was staring at him and I was like, you look so familiar. And then I realized he looked exactly like Nick Robinson, from Love, Simon. And then for the next hour, I could not stop laughing because this man, he looks like Nick Robinson. And I was like, Bestie, you're in love with Nick Robinson. Like
That's
he
kind
looks,
of funny though. I
I
mean,
know.
yeah. So yeah, that is our little fun story time about the cast of this movie. So obviously, first up, we got to talk about Aquamarine. She is the namesake of this movie. Now, I want to just preface this by saying that Sarah Paxton, I have a love-hate relationship with her, to be honest, with everyone. It all stems from her being in Return to Halloween Town, which is just one of the most atrocious movies I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I talked about it on the podcast back in like April, and ever since I just watched that movie, I have not been able to sleep. Like, wow, it just bothers me. Like, I'll just go back and think about it. Like, what's happening? What is happening? So yeah, Sarah Paxton, I feel like she is a very good actress. I do like appreciate what she brought to this movie because Aquamarine is kind of like a hard character to play because she's kind of just like a mermaid
Mhm.
and she's like a little complex, like emotional, like health wise. Like we can't forget like when she like started falling in love with this guy that literally everyone else was in love with, and then she needed to like fulfill this like wish thing, and then she gets pushed into the water, and then they go to save her, and she's like, "You saved me." That's literally her character.
I
But you know
know.
what? I thought that like I liked her hair in this movie, like the blue kind of. I thought it was cute. And I just honestly could not look at her the same, knowing that she was in Return to Halloween Town.
Yeah. I think the best thing to describe Aquamarine is kind of like, have you read Amelia Bedelia?
Yes.
Like how how like she doesn't know anything and she's like really aloof and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you in love with me?" Like the number of times she would ask Raymond that is like really weird. She's just supposed to be like a fish out of water, pun intended, I guess. Um, and so I think that Sarah Paxton did a good job of like playing that character because it is supposed to be kind of silly and funny and things like that. But at the same time, like now that I'm like a teenager and not a child, a lot of the jokes don't hit the same. And it's also like sometimes I'm like, okay, and also circling back to what you said about everyone's in love with Raymond, like what water is that guy drinking? Like, because everyone's in love with him, and also they're all like supposed to be in eighth grade and ninth grade. Like they're supposed to be 13 and 14 years old.
That's what I'm saying. They're supposed to be like
Everyone's like
12,
has
13,
abs. He
14.
has abs.
No, I wanted to know like what was going on because why did everyone just like love him?
They were
Like,
obsessed with him. They're like, Raymond, oh my God, Raymond touched you. It was like, okay.
or like the one scene where he like lifted up his arm and like put it behind his head and they like were like, oh my God. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was like he's just another dude. He's not that attractive. And also, if you guys are 14, why does he look like that? Why does he look 24?
Is he supposed to be their age?
I don't know, maybe like 2 years older. I will give him like 16 maximum. But even if he was 16,
Yeah, no, what were they on? No, though I got so uncomfortable watching that scene where he put his arm over his head and they were like, oh my God, like body hair, what?
please, please. It
It
was so
was
funny.
so funny. I was dying. But you know, I feel like the next character that we're about to talk about deserves like her own description. So JoJo, she plays Haley. Whoa. Haley was kind of like my least favorite character of this movie.
Yeah.
I could never get like a read about like what was going on in her head.
Yeah. Also, like for me, I don't know why, but like Haley and Claire were like the same person to me. Like, I don't know why, but they have no discernible personalities other than they like want to stay together, which is like also weird in the context where it's like they're 13 and they've only been like friends for like a couple years maybe. I don't know. Both of them together, like I was like, do you guys have a personality or is it just like each other?
That is no, it's right because they're literally like the same person, and it's kind of a shame because I love Emma Roberts, but she
Mm.
literally got she was done so dirty in this movie because it was just like they were literally the exact same person, and there was like no like anything that like differentiated them, as well as Haley just like always just like seemed to annoy me like progressively.
Yeah, and then there's this one part where she's like, "Have you noticed that I'm your only friend?" Or what was that? Something about that? And I was like, "Oh, please, like you're moving away. Like why are you spending this time fighting
Oh
with
my god,
your
the
only
moving
friend?"
thing. I'm gonna
Yeah.
move away and I'm gonna be the new girl all over again.
I, Girl, I've moved, okay? 1 year I moved three different schools. It's hard, but though like she was whining about it so much. She was like, "I'm gonna move away. I'm not gonna have any friends." And then there's this part where her mom's like, "Remember when you thought that you wouldn't like this place and you didn't want to move from Boston and now we're moving again?" So like she's been through this and she's just causing a lot of drama and being really whiny about everything. And I don't know. It was just kind of annoying.
Yeah, definitely not my favorite character. Sorry, Haley. Just also the name Haley. Yeah, sorry.
Not very many good experiences, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I've never just had any good experiences with anyone named Haley. I'm sorry. If you're a girl named Haley listening to this podcast, I am very sorry for you.
You're cool because you're listening to this
Yeah,
podcast.
you're
We make
listening
the
to That's So
rules.
Matthew, so you're automatically cool, obviously. Next character is Emma Roberts' character Claire, which one, I love the name Claire. Two, she was definitely like more like I don't want to say better than like Haley, but she definitely was more enjoyable as an audience member to watch. Things I did not like about her is the fact that you're right. She's literally like the exact same thing as Haley. So it's like,
They both have like trauma. They're both like, "Oh my God, my parents died. Oh my God, my dad left me." So like they're the same person because they have the same like trauma.
yeah.
And yeah, it was like, mm,
And I also kind of like how she's a little awkward.
mm. I know. I feel like she was more two-dimensional than Haley. Like I feel like she had more character development because there was the whole storyline with her mom and dad, and then it tied in at the end with like Aquamarine saying that like she used to see this couple and she believed in love because of that. And the whole like she can't swim, but Aquamarine is literally a mermaid. I just feel like there were so many tie-ins and it was really nice. Versus Haley's character was just kind of like there and she just had like random stuff to say. And so I feel like Claire was just more developed.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Can we go back to that whole like the boat thing where her parents were like in love, and then Aquamarine's like, "Yeah, your parents were so in love. It made me believe in love," and I was like, "This is so random."
I know it was like a weird throw-in. It was a tie-in. I like that it was a tie-in. But at the same time, it was kind of like just random. And also like she just saw this random couple and like was like, "Oh, this is what love is." But like, how does she know? Like, does she see the couple 24/7?
Was she
Like,
stalking them like in
yeah,
the
like
ocean?
Aquamarine stalker. No, but it was definitely like weird. It was like it was giving like early 2000s movie tie-in.
Yeah, no, I mean all here for like a tie-in together at the end, but what was that? Like, I saw your parents on their boat. I love love. I was
Oh,
like,
and then Claire was like, "That's my parents." She's like,
that's my
"I saw
parents.
this couple, like they were on a boat together and it was so beautiful." And then Claire was like, "That's my parents." Like, how do you,
No,
girl, how
didn't
do you
she like
know?
ask? She's like, what was the name on the boat? Like really random.
Oh,
It's
that's so
like,
weird. But like, why would she be thinking that in the first place, though? Like, why does she think that, like, it what, like, to ask that in the first place? It was really weird. That'd be really weird. Like,
no,
if
it
someone was
was
telling me
funny.
that, I wouldn't be like, "Oh my God, what do they look like?"
What was the name on the boat?
Yeah, like, it's weird.
No, I thought that was super funny. But now we gotta talk about Raymond. Okay, so Raymond, played by Jake McDorman. Um, like we said, why was everyone obsessed with him?
He was Mr. Perfectly Fine. Like
Not really, not
he was
really.
he was like really everyone was just like obsessed with him. It was a little strange how much everyone was obsessed with him. He was like the it boy and it was really weird. Like who gave him that energy? Who gave him that right?
I think it should be
Um,
Mr. Perfectly Mediocre.
yeah, he was perfectly mediocre. And he was really weird and he was really back and forth too, because he'd be like, "Oh my God, Aquamarine, you're not like other girls around here." Okay, sir, and like I don't know. I don't get like a positive vibe from him. I don't know what it is. Like he wasn't my favorite character and he gave me weird vibes. I don't know.
No, it seemed very like awkward in general, like how he just like bounced from girl to girl because like everyone
Hmm.
was all over him. And then like he was like at the very end, he's like, oh wait, never mind. I wanted to save Aquamarine. And then it was like really weird because it was like, wait, you were just flirting with this other chick.
I know. It was very interesting. And I don't know. Like I said, he did not give me the best of vibes. Like I feel like he's just like a player, in my opinion. And I feel like he would never be
Definitely.
really committed.
Yeah, I also love the fact that like when you look up like Raymond Aquamarine, like one of the first things to pop up is the scene where his arm over his head, which is just really grossing me out. It's so funny because why was like that was like the entire scene, and then they like was zoomed in on him too.
I know, like it was like really they would play like really weird slow motion, like sexy music, like while he was doing it too. And it was like, is this supposed to be hot? Because it's just making me laugh.
Yeah, I just thought that it was so funny because it was just like the most random like thing, you know? He like likes all these girls, but then all these girls are over him. He's literally playing them all. And it's just like, what?
Do you ever like read a book or watch a movie and like the main character is obviously gonna get with like the guy, right? But like you hate the guy. This is one of the scenarios for me where it's like I wish you would just like have a different love interest because I wasn't really into Raymond at all.
Yeah, I didn't like him. Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
it's kind of giving like the X talk, except for I hated Shay and not.
Yeah, definitely. Like he just gives me like weird vibes. I'm not into him. I also don't like see why Aqua would be into him other than she just needed to find someone to be in love with. And I think that just kind of proves at the end. Remember like how her father like eventually like lets like is happy because he sees like the true love between like Claire and oh my God, I forget her name. What's her name?
Haley.
They're just Haley. Yeah, they're so forgettable. I don't even remember their names. Um, Claire and Haley, like that's the real love, kind of like a Anna Elsa thing, you know? So I guess like she really isn't in love with Raymond, but you know, it's still like not a good vibe.
Yeah, yeah. Raymond, you're done. You're done. Now next character is that one girl I kind of Cecilia, that was like the like it girl, and everyone hated her, and she was like on the news and she's like, she's a mermaid, daddy, she's a mermaid.
I know. She was interesting.
And then she's like, why are you gonna pick her over me? I'm so much better. Girl, shut up.
I know. I mean, she I don't have any words for her. She's just kind of there. Like she's just like really mean. Like that's all I gotta say. Like there was Mean Girls in like early 2000s movie, but like I bet they usually have like some sort of background where they're like, oh, I was bullied in my past, or you know, I just want like attention from my parents or something like that. But like she does not have any dimension. She's just mean for no reason. She rides around in this ridiculous like car. And she just drives around and she like it's just rude and mean. And like, there's this part in the beginning where she's like, babysit much to Raymond. And it's like, yeah, because that's his job.
Yeah, he's a
He's a
lifeguard,
lifeguard.
literally. No, that's so funny.
Like, girl, he's a lifeguard. That's what he's supposed to do. Like, water, babysit people.
No, it's so funny because working at Six Flags, I've met so many people that are like lifeguards at like the water park during the summer, and they're literally like, yeah, we're just like we just sit there like and watch the people like babysitters, and it's like I think that's just kind of funny because Raymond like thinks he's like the shit. Excuse my language, everyone, but like I just couldn't get
Yes,
over it. He was literally like, "Oh my God, I'm so hot. Everyone loves me. The girls are fighting over me."
I think that's the problem because like Raymond, everyone's obsessed with Raymond and he knows everyone's obsessed with him. I think that's the problem because he knows he's the it boy. And it's like, boy, like sit down. Be a little
Yeah,
humble.
for sure. Yeah, so he basically flirted with like every girl in this movie. So Cecilia also, one thing about her that really like I thought was super funny is like how she was so obsessed with these girls that are like so below her, in
I
like in her
know.
mind below her, like
Hmm. Also, okay, I just thought about it and about the age thing. So Celia has a car, so she can drive. So she's at least 16. And so I'm gonna put like Raymond about 16 too. But these girls are just going into eighth grade. So they're 13 years old. So think about this, okay? 16-year-old Celia, okay, she's like what, a high school junior, sophomore, is messing with eighth grade girls. The maturity level, not there. Like, why are you messing with eighth grade girls? So weird. Also, Raymond, like, he's also probably 16 or older because, like, to be a lifeguard, you have to be a certain age, right?
yeah.
Um, and he's also like talking to 13-year-old girls.
Yeah, there's no one like right in this.
Yeah.
There's no way that this like should have occurred. Like this should have just not occurred. Like someone should have just
Weird.
been like, you're done. But now I want to know what your thoughts are on the little earrings, like the starfish ones that just randomly start talking, and it's so funny.
That plus like the color changing nail polish I thought was really funny. But when I was like really little, I was like, I want those earrings. Like that's kind of like what made me want to get my ears pierced. Cause I thought that if I would like because we lived in New Jersey and we lived near the beach. So I was like, if I like get my ears pierced, then I could like pick up these like starfish and put them in my ear and they'll like talk to me.
That's so funny. No, Hannah, stop. You're done.
I know, but it was unfortunately not true. Um, oops.
I just that it really just ties it all together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting. It's like I think talking back with the movie, I realized how insane it sounds without the context. Like if you've never watched this movie and you're listening to this, you're probably thinking, what? Like starfish, earrings, color changing nail polish, Raymond, like Celia, like all this, it just sounds weird.
It all just like is just a fever dream, honestly,
Mhm.
to just break it down. Uh yeah, just that's about it. There's some other parents, but we don't really they had no point. They were
They're
useless.
done.
No, literally,
Irrelevant.
that's the one thing I like as I've kind of transitioned like from like Disney Channel like into like similar movies that feel like Disney Channel is how useless the parents are like every single time.
They're kind of just there to like be parents.
Yeah,
I
it's
know that's a really
so
empty
they're not
sentence.
even
Like,
being parents. Like they're just like there.
yeah, because like, why are these people just allowed to go anywhere they want to and like get into like all this trouble? Like half of this, I think half the things like happen in Disney movies and like movies like that is like the parents aren't watching them or like approving anything that they're doing. Like before I leave the house, I have to tell my mom, like, oh, this is where I'm going, this is who I'm hanging out with, just like for safety measures. But these kids are just like going out into the wild, like driving to some random high school pool party, going to the water tower. Like they literally went to the water tower and like they put the mermaid up in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I have to tell my mom like where I'm going and like she has Life 360 like she like will like if I say I'm going somewhere and I don't go there, she'll be like, why did you not go there? So like I don't understand how these kids who are like how many years like 4 or 5 years younger than we are like getting away with all this.
Yeah. It's also not safe. Like you should be telling at least one person where you're going.
Yeah. Oh, what if you got
Yeah.
abducted? Like what if the aliens just like came and
Well, then they're out of luck, I guess.
yeah, so that's your fault. But honestly, let's just break down this like fever dream of a plot. So it's basically like the end of summer vacation. So like a whole summer of events has occurred at this point in time. And just as they think that, life is getting back to normal, Haley's like, yeah, I'm moving to Australia.
So random. Why Australia? Like I feel like when people say they're moving, like in any of these movies, they pick like the weirdest places. Like they're like, I'm moving to China. I'm moving to Australia. I'm moving to
Wendy
like
Wu
London.
is shook. Wendy Wu.
Wendy Wu is very shook.
Oh my gosh, throwback. I didn't even realize that you did that episode with me.
Yeah.
No, I just, wow, great
I,
mind.
I haven't, you know how you said you haven't slept well since Halloween Town
Yeah,
4? I haven't slept well since I watched Wendy Wu. Like
girl,
that,
that's been like a whole year.
it's so bad. It's such a weird, bad movie. I
No,
don't.
everyone go check out that throwback episode, Wendy Wu. That was a time. That was like our first episode we ever did together.
I think so. It was interesting.
Yeah. You might not be able to sleep at night, but it's
Especially if
all
that
it's worth
green
it.
stuff comes to get you. That CGI green
The
stuff.
green stuff that just randomly floats through the air.
Yep.
Yeah, go check it out, everyone. I'll actually link it in the show notes so you guys don't have to scroll,
Yeah.
just for everyone's own enjoyment. But okay, here we go. So she's gonna move to Australia. And so they like go and like do this like weird like circle that they're gonna like pray to like a sea something, like a god, I guess. And then the power and the storm just like comes, and then like the power goes out, and it's like I totally forgot about this part of the movie, to be honest with you.
I
And
know.
then all of a sudden there's like a giant storm, and then like one of the parents or someone like comes over and it's like, what's going on? Are you guys okay? And what? How is this gonna save you from going to Australia?
I have no idea. And then the storm happens, right? And then they go outside or something like that. I kind of forget. And then they're like, "Oh, what's that sound?" And then Aquamarine comes out and she's like, "Maybe it's a mermaid or something." She said something really weird, like in the corner, like really creepy. And it's like, did we? You're not like you're not Pennywise. Like, why are we like in the corner? Like, why are we like whispering things? It was
Why?
weird.
No, like you're right, because it was
Weird vibe.
so bad. Like, I mean, it gets better from here, but it's like kind of funny that this like they like we're gonna like pray so that she doesn't have to move to Australia. Then a whole storm occurs, and then a random mermaid just appears and is like acting really creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they sneak to the pool and they meet Aquamarine, who came in because of the storm. What?
And then she's like, "Yeah, that storm, my dad caused that. He got mad because I didn't want to get married." And it's like,
The
okay.
Little Mermaid who?
Yeah. I know. She's like, "Me?"
Okay, yeah. So she like to end this arranged marriage, she has to find true love with a human, or I guess anyone of that matter, to just prove to her dad. So she's going to be on a mission to find love. And so, who everyone's in love with? Raymond. So fill in the rest. Um, so she is able to like get rid of her tail as long as she does not get wet. So like, classic mermaid stuff.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of like starts keeping an eye on Raymond. She's kind of into him, like literally every other girl under the sun. And but Haley and Claire have had a crush on this man for years, which one, weird. Two, if you're gonna be friends with Aquamarine, but like she probably has a better chance. I'm sorry, because Aquamarine at least has like a personality. Just saying.
That's true.
And they're like, we've liked him for years. Like, I'm sorry, hey, Aquamarine's probably gonna get with him in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Like,
Sorry.
sorry. Aquamarine is like a full-on mermaid. You guys are like
Yeah,
13.
try and one up that. It was so funny to me. And so they like are trying to like get a wish. So if they help her, they get a wish of anything. And so what does Haley wish? She doesn't want to go to Australia. So they're going to try and help this mermaid, which means that they need to give up their hopes and dreams of being with Raymond for Aqua. as they call her. What is that?
Oh.
What is this like the cheetah girls, Aqua?
Um,
So it's so funny because it's so random. It's like, oh yeah, you get a wish.
yeah. She was like, if you help me, you'll get a wish. And then in between here, they create this like really iconic dress. That's not really a dress. It's like this blue wrap thing. And I remember like when I was like 8, I was like, I'm gonna do it too. And I tried to do it and it did not look good because it's not real. Um, but I did see like on TikTok one time someone tried to make it and it looked fine. But it was this iconic blue dress that wasn't really a dress. And then there's this part where she like walks off to like go see Raymond or whatever, and she like tries to like profess her love to him. She's like, "Do you love me?" But before she does that, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not wearing underwear," which is like so weird. It was really weird. And like before that, she was like naked the entire time too, which was weird. But yeah,
No, because this movie was on something.
yeah.
It was definitely on something. So this is when I think it starts to get very interested interested very interesting, sorry, excuse my grammar. Um Aqua does not understand what love is really because she's like a fish out of water, like you said, like literally.
Pun intended.
And so she gets rejected by Raymond because he can do so much better because everyone loves him. Yeah. So they basically the girls like Haley and Claire are like, we promise we will get you love in like 3 days. Like 3 days. What is this? The Bachelor?
That and they like use romance magazines to like you have to like fluff and walk away or something weird like that, and it's like okay.
No, it's so poorly written, and you know what? I don't even care because it's kind of entertaining. But this is when I like kind of lost it with the film is when we have Cecilia, who is like the daughter of the meteorologist. It like starts getting in the way, and then she like figures out she's a mermaid, and it's like, what?
First of all, how like how did you know that? It's
Yeah,
just
it's so funny.
yeah, a lot of this is like it's clear why little kids like this because like when you see people like older than you like do all this fun stuff, you're like, oh my god, I want to do it. But then you get to that age and you're like, oh wait, I can't. And then it becomes like really weird. And then watching it like being older than these people, it's like I've never done that in my entire life. Like
Yeah,
this is weird.
it's so funny because she like pushes her into the water and then she like follows them to the water tower and discovers like that she's a mermaid and she's like, oh my god, you're a mermaid. And then it's like, girl, we've been new. And she tries to expose her on television, but like the random like man just like I don't know what he does. He like helps like her escape and she's like, oh yes, you get a wish. She's handing out those wishes like they're just candy. She's like, you get a wish, you get a wish,
You
oh,
get a
you
wish.
get a
She's like
wish.
Oprah. She's like, you get a wish, you get a wish, you get a wish, you get a wish. It's like the Ellen show up in there.
Oh
Like
my god,
she's
the Ellen
like,
show. No, that's a crime. The Ellen show is a crime to humanity.
it is.
It's so
There's
funny. It's so bad.
I was like watching on YouTube the other day. There's like this segment where she's like has it just randomly popped up. I don't watch the Ellen show. I don't think that she's a good person.
Yes,
Anyways,
I agree.
so there's like these like kids that she brings out, and she's like, which kid has been on my show? And girl can't even tell who's been on her show. Like I know that's just like a lot of guests, but it just shows like how impersonal it is.
And if
Like,
they're kids, I feel like they're a lot more memorable too.
yeah, it was
That's so
weird.
no. My favorite one is she like gets these people to like answer this random trivia question, and if they get it wrong, they get like covered in like random like anything like flour and like slime and feathers, and it's like,
Is
girl,
this
this
the Kids' Choice Awards? Like, please keep it to yourself.
you're done. No, it's so bad. Like I'm so glad that it's gonna be done. I can't stand Ellen.
She's
I,
the worst.
she's literally I can't like the fame got to her head like too much.
I know.
And then my other favorite thing is when she just has these random like people like host her show because she's like took the day off.
Yeah, my favorite was when Leah Michelle did it. I know Leah Michelle's not a good person, but I was such a huge like Glee stan at the time, and I was like, oh my God, it's Leah Michelle. Like I think Leah Michelle should have her own show. I do not think that now. I do not think Leah
No,
Michelle
Leah
is a good
Michelle,
person. But
no.
Leah
But
Michelle, you're
it's so
dumb.
funny. Yeah. So she's like literally handing out these wishes to everyone. Um, so um, it just gets weirder because the car, Cecilia's car gets taken away because she's like being rude to like and like was like making fun of people on national television or something like that. But like she's popular, so like it doesn't even matter. And then so that was like a whole scene and a half because I was so like lost and confused. But now it's when it gets real juicy because is Aquamarine and Raymond, are they gonna last?
No.
And so she goes, "Do you love me?" And then he's like, "I like you, but I'm not in love."
I mean, honesty, I guess I like that he's honest. Like at least he wasn't like, I'm in love with you. I feel like it would have been worse if he said yes, like I'm in love with you. I feel like I would have disliked the movie even more if he said that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just very like funny because I feel like Raymond would be like, "Yes, I'm in love with you," but he's not. He's just trying to get like with someone as
Yeah.
usual. Um so then they've only really been on like one date. Aqua starts getting like heartbroken, and then Cecilia just comes out of nowhere and pushes her into the ocean. She turns into a mermaid, and then Raymond is like, "Oh my God, you're a mermaid!"
Boy, we all knew. We
And
all
then
knew
like this
before
whole
you.
storm just like ensues, and then he's like, "I'm gonna save you." Um, and then Cecilia like gets all pissed off, and it's so funny because it's like, why are you getting worked up?
Like he's not even your boyfriend, girl. Sit down.
That's like the funny thing about this movie. Everyone like claims Raymond to be theirs, but he's not dating any of you.
I mean, I know we talked about in the beginning how he's kind of like a man.
Yeah.
Bad word. But like he has the right, I guess, because he isn't like dating anyone. Like it's not like he has a girlfriend, and it's not like he promised anyone like I'm gonna date you. So I mean, I guess he's in his limits of
Yeah,
rights.
he is kind of he's kind of he's got like the right spirit. He's just a little confused.
Confused.
But yeah. But now I think this is when it gets really fun because Haley and Claire jump in the ocean to save her as well. So they are
Yeah.
like risking their lives. There's a storm ensuing, and then they're like, "We love you."
We love you, Aqua. We also only had 3 days with you, but we love you.
Yeah. And then so they apparently that convinces Aquamarine's father of true love. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm done with the storm." But now they get their wish, but they're like, "We're not gonna use the wish because your mom worked so hard to go to Australia." You're
So
telling me
basically,
this
they wasted
entire
the entire
time.
movie. Yeah,
This entire time you're
yeah.
like, "Oh my God, we have to save me from going to Australia." And then it's like, yeah, never mind.
It's like, oh my God, I need you as much as I need oxygen. And then like 2 seconds later, like, you know what? This is great for your mom. Let's let her have this. Let's let her have it. It's like,
Let's let her have her moment. Like,
what about our moment? Like we
what
wasted
about
the
the
entire
audience? We
movie.
we we watched this entire movie so that you didn't have to go to Australia, and then guess what? You're going to Australia anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they say goodbye to her, and she's like, "I promise I'll come visit." And
Please don't.
then
No, I'm just kidding.
they kiss. Um, I should say Raymond and Aqua like kiss, and it's like, oh my God. But my question is, like, what if he didn't know that she was like a mermaid, and like what if like the kiss like that like some spit like happened and then like she turned into a mermaid?
Please. I was watching a video before this and they were like thinking the same thing, but like more like inappropriate and things like that. And I was like, please, that's so bad.
It's kind of funny though, like if you think about it, like what if she just turned into a mermaid?
Like in the middle of like random stuff. Yeah. I think H2O, MA. No, I'm just kidding. But Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I don't understand why like Raymond and her had the kiss at the end. It was kind of like irrelevant because like he already was like, I'm not in love with you. And then her father already was like, okay, you can go now. So it's like a weird random thing. I guess they did it to be like hashtag Disney, but it was weird.
You're done. Hashtag Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried. They really tried. But we're not done yet because Raymond has to thank Haley and Claire for introducing him to Aquamarine, and they're like, "We'll miss you," and then they part ways. She's going to Australia anyways.
They're like, bye forever.
Yeah. So that's about it.
That's the movie, guys.
Okay.
It's mm,
Let's talk about a rating because it's not an episode of That's a Matthew without a rating.
mhm.
So I have to be honest here. If younger Matthew were to watch this movie, it'd probably be like a 10 out of 10. I
Same.
loved this movie. Now, as much as I think it's like cute, funny, good to watch, I have to like lower that. To like maybe like a 6 out of 10. It's very like mediocre, like Mr. Mediocre. Like it's very like it just like is okay.
Yeah. I am going to give it a hmm, okay, I'm gonna give it like a 7 out of 10 because I'm gonna give it like three nostalgia points
Oh
for
yes.
being nostalgia. And I'll give it another point. I'll tell you my why I gave it a 7. I gave you three nostalgia points. 3 points for just being a okay movie, and then 1 point for like the soundtrack because I don't know why, but like that part where they like dance like na, 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 that like Weezer song, I think that's a really good like early 2000s good song. And then also Connected. It's like in Barbie movies too. It's like we are connected, protected. Yeah, I just like saying it for everyone. That's
No, I was gonna say that the soundtrack slaps.
yeah,
I posted a little hint on my Instagram story about what was to come, and I used the version that they made for the movie of the
yeah,
Weezer song, and I was like, this is good. I mean, it's kind of
yeah.
obvious. I didn't want it to like show the picture of Aquamarine. I just wanted them to like hear the version. But it's like that's when Matthew returns in 1 week.
It is such a good like song soundtrack thing. Like I love it so much. So that gets a point. So that's 7 out of 10. Is it mediocre? Yeah, it's very mediocre. It's Mr. Perfectly Mediocre. It's not that great looking back on it. And it's like I don't think that like see like when I was 8 years old, that was the ish. Like this was the movie. Like it was the movie, right? But like if I showed this to an 8-year-old now, I don't think that they would like it. And I don't know why. I just have a feeling like they just wouldn't like it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like kids these days, I sound like such an adult, kids these days, but
Kids
like
these
kids
days.
these days, like they don't like, I feel like it wouldn't have like the nostalgic value to them
Mhm.
because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this came out in 2006. This is disgusting. It's
Oh,
15 years ago.
it's older than me. No, I know. I just feel like it doesn't have like a timeless quality. It's just kind of like a movie we watched as kids, and I don't think that like people in the future in like I don't know 10 years would like it very much.
Yeah, I think
It
it's like trapped in 2006.
it is pretty trapped in 2006. I don't know. I guess 7 out of 10.
Yeah, 6 out of 10 for me. But this has been a super fun episode to do with you on the new like That's So Matthew because I feel like
Yeah.
it's a whole new vibe. Honestly, I was kind of scared because like coming back from a podcast break, it's like,
It's scary.
yeah, I'm like, are people actually gonna listen or are they gonna be like, yeah, it's no longer Disney, we're done? But you know what? I've just decided that I really don't care. If you don't want to listen, you don't want to listen because I'm having a blast. These first two episodes that I've done have been so good. And I have two more episodes I'm recording this week. I'm very excited about both Disney. So I feel like I'm kind of like evening it out. Like I did two Disney and two non-Disney for January. Might try and keep it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that you're branching out into other movies. I feel like this has like a very similar vibe to Disney too. Like it's not too different. And I think people who watch Disney movies will also remember this movie very well and like other movies. There's just so many movies I watched when I was like really, I guess, little, and I like them a lot. Like This plus Geek Charming plus Enchanted, my favorites.
Oh my God,
I just love that.
Enchanted.
I have you done that on this
I have
podcast
not.
yet? Oh my God, you should do it. It's so good.
No,
Yeah,
I
you should
need to
get a
do it.
movie.
It's going
Yeah.
on the list because I'm also kind of salty because I don't know if it's on Disney Plus unless they put it on.
They just put it on. I watched it a
Oh,
couple days ago and I was like, yay! I think it's because they're doing a sequel.
oh yes, no, I did hear about that. Okay, so now it's on Disney Plus. Now I have no reason to not watch it, which means that I know what I'm doing. Probably not tonight because I have an after work event, but
Yeah.
um maybe tomorrow. Yeah.
Maybe an episode soon.
Oh
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that'd be really fun. I would definitely listen to. I love that. But yeah, I mean, I love everything about your podcast, and
Thank
I'm sure
you.
like your future movie episodes are gonna be great. Because it's fun. Like I love listening to movie podcasts because they talk about so many like fun things. Like I think you should also do like Princess Diaries because I really like Princess
No,
Diaries.
I want it. So that's actually like I made a list of like stuff, and I feel like I'm gonna kind of change how I like look for guests. So this is like for the people listening too. If you want to be a guest on my podcast, I'm gonna kind of like at the beginning of like or at some point I'm gonna put out like a list of movies I want to talk about and be like, if you are interested in talking about one of these movies, message me or fill out my form.
Mm,
And I've become very high tech. I have a form, and
I
it
know.
then it like sends you an automated email with the booking email, and then
I know
it
it's
sends
so
you
fancy.
an automated Zoom link because I suck at reminding or like remembering to send Zoom info to people.
I
And so then
know.
Isabel from the Just Isabel Things podcast helped me figure this out, like Calendly out, and I have been obsessed with it ever since.
It's so nice. I was about to say to you, like, before recording, I was like, this is Bessie, this is so high tech. Like,
And
I
it's
filled
less
out the
work for
thing.
me.
I know. I was like, this is fancy. I was like, this is so nice.
Yeah, it's perfect. So I feel like I've already like said how much I love Calendly, but they're not paying me to like say anything. But
They
you
should.
guys, you need to check it out. It is because I'm in high school. I'm about to take the ACT in a couple months.
Yeah. Good luck. I remember my ACT, my two of them. It was
No, I'm really kind of nervous, but it's fine. We're fine.
no, it's
So
gonna be
yeah,
great. Like,
great.
it's gonna be fine. I recommend getting a timer.
Yeah, I have been doing some practice tests, and I have like this Naviance website, which I don't really like. But my school is like, you must practice on Naviance.
Ew.
Yeah. So it's good, but it's just not my favorite. And I'm like kind of nervous for like the math section.
Oh yeah, it's intense. Yeah, I would just say like practice for the things that you think that will definitely be on there because there are like patterns as you can say. And then, just keep practicing like every weekend. That's what I did. And you'll get through it. And eventually you'll be a senior and it'll be so fun. It'll be senior. Okay, actually, senior year is not that it's not that fun. Okay, it's fun, but it's like it doesn't live up to the hype. Like it's stressful.
Yeah. So yeah. Thank you everyone so much for listening to this episode of That's So Matthew. Thank you, Hannah, from Even the Little Things, for coming on. I love your podcast. So it's always
Thank
great to work with
you.
you and record episodes with you. We've done a couple other episodes. We did Wendy Wu and Read It and Weep. So everyone just needs to go check those out.
I
They're
forgot about Read It and Weep.
I actually kind of did too, and then I was like, wait, we did another episode. What was it? And then I just remember that PJ Dolly was in it.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I was like,
so
wait,
fun.
yeah, okay, yeah. So Read It and Weep. Go check it out. As well as make sure to go check out Hannah's podcast. Follow her and Dwani on Instagram. At Even the Little Things podcast.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, that's
good.
right.
I feel like I've heard it enough times, like I should know.
Yes. Well, plug. We do episodes every Friday. So make sure to go check us out if you like this.
Yes, thank you so much. And you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all of the places at That's So Matthew. And I would love to hear your thoughts about Aquamarine. Send them my way. And I hope that everyone tunes in next Friday for another episode of That's So Matthew. Bye.
Bye.